Good morning, good morning, good morning, Stampers. Welcome to day 3 of our daily Facebook lives featuring the Friendly Flamingo bundle from the January to June mini catalog. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and normally I go live on Fridays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, but the last full week of every month, I've chosen to go live on a daily basis featuring a bundle. Every month it's a different bundle. This month it's the Friendly Flamingo bundle. So at the end of this video, I'll share the 2 projects that I created on Monday and Tuesday. And I designed the last 3 projects last night, and oh my gosh, you know, I liked the first 2 projects, but I love these next 3 projects. So I can't wait to share them with you. All right, so let's jump right in. Today we are going to create a fun, simple background technique. And if you guys follow me, you've probably seen me do this before, but most likely on scrapbook pages and not on a card. So I'm going to share some tips on how you can do it on a card. All right, let's see here. Good morning, Lorraine and Kim. I think there's a few other people watching. Here we go. Okay. So these are the pieces that I'm using today. I'm throwing in some DSP, and I was looking through my DSP to find some pattern papers that would work well with this bundle, and the Fine Art Floral patterned paper is perfect because there's some Friendly Flamingo in there. There's some Pool Party, which are 2 colors that I think go really, really well with this bundle, but mostly not necessarily the florally patterns of the paper, but the back sides of the pattern paper. So this is one of the patterns. So I pulled out a couple scraps of that we're going to use. Good morning, Alice. Good morning, Kim. Okay, we're gonna start with a piece of, okay, thick basic white cardstock. Now you can do this with regular white cardstock, but I did try it with thick yesterday for the very first time, and I found that it just works a little bit better. It does, the water doesn't absorb quite as quickly on the thick cardstock as it does on the regular cardstock, and it helps prevent it from pilling a little bit more. So you can still get a beautiful look on regular cardstock, but thick is a great option. All right, good morning, Joy. Good morning, Janie. Good morning, Shauna. So we are going to pull in a piece of packaging. So this technique is called the packaging technique, and you literally use a piece of packaging. So this, I don't even know what this is from. Some sort of embellishment came in it, and I just keep it, and this is what I use over and over and over again. All right, so you just need a piece of plastic that has a little bit more structure than like a piece of saran wrap. A piece of saran wrap is a bit too flimsy. So the next time you get an embellishment package, or maybe you've got an embellishment package that's almost done, just use that packaging. Or you can use, if you've got one of our 6x8 cello bags or one of our transparent envelopes, either of those will work as well. Okay, and we are going to use Pool Party for our ink. The other thing that you'll need is a mister with some water. All right, so this is one of our Stampin' Misters. They come in packages of 2, and I just put regular tap water inside, and that's what we're going to use. Now, let me pull in a scrap piece so that you can kind of see this a little bit better. It's hard to see on the black. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ink pad, and I'm just going to smush it a little bit on there. And now, if I was doing this on a scrapbook layout, I would probably just smush my whole pad. Like, you want a little bit more ink because you've got a little bit more surface to cover on a scrapbook layout than you do on a card. Okay, so now that I've got my ink on there, I'm going to take my mister and I'm going to spritz it generously. So you want it to, like the water to pool and to really move nicely. And now what I'm going to do is, let's rotate this around, is I'm going to let it drip, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to flick, And then, so can you see how the water, it did not soak in really quickly? So that is our thick basic white cardstock. So once I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm going to bring in just a little tissue, and because it hasn't absorbed really quickly, I'm just going to run the tissue on just to absorb some of that excess water. You can tap it as well to get rid of some of that excess. And you have this beautiful background. I did find with the basic white that your splatters don't really stay because they don't soak in as quickly. The splatters aren't as obvious on the basic white as they are on our regular whisper white because they soak in so quickly, or not whisper white. Okay, thick over, I'm getting the names mixed up. Okay, so our regular basic white cardstock, the ink absorbs really, really quickly, so you get that splatter look. Whereas on the thick basic white, it almost sits on top, so you have a little bit more time to kind of work with it. It doesn't soak in as quickly. So I find you don't get those splatters. So if you want additional splatters, then you can either splatter using an ink pad, smushing your ink on there, and then using a little bit of water and flicking it with a water painter. Or you can do what I just did and then just splatter and then let it sit rather than smushing it with the packaging. Okay, so there's lots of different options for adding splatter, but you'll want to do this first if you want this background. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. So now we've got our background, and it dries pretty quickly. Like it's almost, it's still a little damp, but it won't take long to dry. Okay, so we're going to set that aside while we do some stamping. Now I've got a piece of just regular basic white cardstock, and I've got a 1.5 inch circle and a scrap of Pool Party cardstock. Let me just make sure I've got the right scrap because I've got a couple scraps here. No, I want this scrap. Okay, so those are the things that I'm going to stamp on. Let's do our greetings first. So I'm going to bring in some Memento ink, and I'm going to use the greeting that says just be you, and I'm going to stamp it kind of in the upper right part of the circle. Again, this is a 1.5 inch circle. Okay, the great thing about stamping on a circle is you don't need to worry about it being straight. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp the greeting stand tall and stand out. And that's going to go at the bottom of my Pool Party, and then we're going to trim it down. And now we can bring in our flamingo. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this the same way that I did the very first day we used this stamp set, because I love the way it looks. I played around with a couple different ways to stamp it, and this was my favorite way. This is the way I found that it looks the best. So if you guys missed that, what I'm going to do, good morning Elaine, is I'm going to ink the entire flamingo with Flirty Flamingo ink. And then I'm going to stamp off on some scrap paper. And then we can get this out of the way. And then I'm going to use some Melon Mambo and a finger dauber, and just kind of go around its belly and feathers at the bottom, just to add a little bit of contrast. And then the flamingo's beaks are black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blender pen, make sure that there's no color on there, and I'm going to pull the color off of the beak, and then use my black Stampin' Write marker and add the black in here. And it looks like I've got a little something on here, a little scrap of cardstock. There we go. Okay. And I'll give this a huff because it has taken me a while to ink that. And so that Flirty Flamingo that I inked up first and already stamped off, it's already pretty light. So I want to huff on it, and that just re-moistens that ink. I should probably have my foam mat underneath here. Let's hope it works. All right, there we go. And so now by stamping off that Flirty Flamingo, it just gives us that lighter portion, and you can really see the details of the feathers in there. And then you see that touch of Melon Mambo, so that darker pink that's in there, and then that pop of black for its beak. I just love how it looks like that. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to bring in the dies and our Stamp and Cut and Emboss. Oh, we have one more thing to stamp. I need that Flirty Flamingo. Okay, and there is this little cluster of flowers. And we're going to stamp that. Look how pretty those flowers look. I just love all the detail on these stamps. They're so pretty. Oh, thanks for sharing, Jean. So for those of you guys who follow me regularly, I do give away the projects that I make most of the time, unless it's a 3D project or a scrapbook layout, because those are a little bit more difficult to mail. So if you share my videos, you get 5 entries, and if you participate in the conversation, you get an entry. So at the end of this week, I will draw and announce all the winners for the projects this week. All right, so I'm going to bring in my Stamp and Cut, and look, I replaced my bottom plate. Yesterday I shared that there was a big crack right through the middle of my other plate. So I figured it was time. It was time to replace it. Now I have some fresh new, or somewhat fresh new, one fresh new plate. Yesterday I shared that I don't replace both my plates at the same time. My top plate goes to the bottom, and I just replace the top one. Okay, we need a little bit of washi tape for that guy. Yay to no cracks. That's right, Shirley. Thanks for sharing, Joy. Oh, thanks for sharing, Shauna. All right. Let's use a little bit of washi tape on here and make sure that this did not move. Okay. Feed this through. You know, Joy, I don't know why a flamingo is pink, but I did read, because I was looking to see if there were different colored flamingos. I did read that, like some of them are, I think when they raise their young, I think this is what I read, when they start to raise their young, sometimes they lighten a little bit, so their color changes. And so then they turn a little bit lighter, and some of them are a little bit more orangey, like almost like a corally color, but a soft, light corally color. So I don't know if that's what color they change to when they start raising their young. I don't know if it's like turning gray for us as humans. When you have kids, you know, the stress and you start to turn gray. So maybe it's an equivalent to that. I'm not sure, but I did not find that flamingos were any other color other than pink. And I'm not sure why they're pink. But they're beautiful animals, like, oh my God, or birds. I don't know, I just find them so pretty. So unique. All right. So I'm just gonna trim this so it's slightly larger. And we'll snip this down so it's a little bit shorter. Okay, now I think we have all of our pieces. Okay, so my card base is Pool Party, just a standard size card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we are going to go ahead. This is, in the corner here is still a little bit damp, but that's okay. It's still good enough to, it's not too wet. It's not going to ruin anything. And whenever I add kind of a lot of moisture to a piece of cardstock and it's a little bit warped, because you can see that it did buckle just a little bit, I do like to be very generous with my adhesive so that it sticks down nicely. All right, there we go. Okay, and then this guy's going to get popped up using some dimensionals. Let's use a couple of these edge bits. So tomorrow's project is a fun fold, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I seriously love this project and the next two projects. I liked the first two projects, but these next few are, I just love them. They're so pretty. Can't wait to share them with you guys. All right, so does everybody know what today is? If you're a demonstrator, you know what today is. Today we get to see the new catalog. It goes online. So excited, at 1 o'clock today. But that also means that the retiring list comes out today. So I will be posting that on my blog and sending out an email once it's released. And you guys know that most of the product, I think usually except the stamp sets, are available while supplies last. So if there is anything that you want, then make sure that you pick it up right away, because some things just don't last. That makes sense, Kim. Their diet, yeah. I know, Shauna, I love the packaging technique. It's just so easy. And you get a very different look every time. Okay, so we're just piecing all of our elements together. And then I'm going to take a piece of Blushing Bride twine. So this is from the Snail Mail Twine Combo. I think there will be some discounts, Kim. Don't quote me on that, but I believe in the update, it did tell us that retiring stamp sales, I think it said something about sales or discounts as well. So it said it was coming soon. So, and I'm pretty sure I saw the word discount or sale in there. So I think there will be some items that are marked down. Okay, so I'm going to use a little dot of Tombow on here to add the bow. Right on there, that just brings in a little touch of pink. And then we're going to use some of these opal rounds. Just opened my second package of these. I absolutely adore these opal rounds. I really hope that they carry over. So we're going to add 3 of these on here, just like that. And there's the front of our card. Now for the inside, I'm going to bring in a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white, and I've got a piece of that beautiful Fine Art Floral DSP and a piece of Pool Party cardstock, and this is going to go along the top. Still want to do a couple layouts with the back of this Fine Art Floral paper. There's some really pretty patterns. on the back side. There's some gorgeous patterns. The floral patterns are really beautiful as well, but I especially love the back of the patterns. I hope that seashell suite carries over too. It's such a pretty collection. Okay, so then I'm just gonna put a little piece of a dimensional on the back here, and we're gonna pop this up right here just as a little touch of pink on the inside of our card. And add that, and then the inside is done, and then I wanted to pull in some of that pool party color on the envelope as well, so I'm going to decorate the envelope flap to match. Any guesses on the new in colors? Yes, that's right, Joy. It's a woohoo day. It's very exciting. I don't know. It's probably the best day of the year for most demonstrators. It's very exciting to see what's coming out. What's retiring, that's also exciting. I always love to pull out all of my retiring stuff out of my stamp drawer, because that means I can make room for some new stuff. All right, so we'll just trim around here. And then we've got a beautiful envelope to match our card. Look at that. Isn't that this is the prettiest card? And it really did not take much effort at all. Just that background. Let me bring it up a little closer so you can see. That background is so pretty. So pretty. All right, so let me pull in the other cards that we created this week so you can take a look. Just move this stuff out of the way. We had this guy yesterday, and then we had this one on Monday. So we've got 3 beautiful flamingo cards. This one is my favorite though. I just love this one. I think it's because I'm a big white person. I love lots of white. I don't know, it just reminds me of clean and simple, elegant, and that card just screams that for me. The other 2 are cute, but this one's my favorite. All right, and remember to come back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. where I will have a fancy fold featuring this bundle. And remember to check your mailboxes, your email at 1 o'clock or shortly after, when I will have the retiring list. I'll also post it on Facebook and my blog as well. So you'll be able to access it wherever. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. I will see you again tomorrow morning. Have a great day, guys.